So thank you everyone for joining us tonight for the parent meeting. It is going to be a change for the rest of the year. We were noticing a change in the numbers of parents who were attending and also had quite a few requests to switch to an evening meeting time to better accommodate schedules, especially as more and more people are returning to work. So for this week and the next 2 weeks, we'll do at 6 p.m. And then after June 10th, hopefully we won't have any reason to have a meeting like this for the duration of the summer. So thank you again for joining us. It's my weekly reminder that we are going to be recording this meeting. We already are in the process of recording this meeting, and that it will be posted online for other parents to view. I'm going to talk about really 4 big areas today and answer a few questions that parents submitted. I'm going to share a little bit more about the graduation ceremony, what we know now. Talk about Chromebook distribution, the grade level town hall meetings, which actually kicked off today. Share a little bit of information about summer school, including a quick conversation about the local summer programs that we offer at BCC, and answer a few questions there. So we'll start with the graduation ceremony. So there are 2 parts to the graduation ceremony, and if you have a graduating senior, hopefully you're already aware of this. MCPS is going to do a universal graduation ceremony, which will be on Sunday, June 7th at 6 p.m. And that ceremony is going to be broadcast on local TV through Channel 4 and some of its partners, I believe Cozy and Telemundo. It'll also be available on MCPS TV, streamed on the MCPS website, and I believe streamed live on, or as a premiere rather, on MCPS's YouTube channel. It will feature Chef Jose Andres as the keynote speaker, along with several greetings from the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education president, the student member of the board, some of those other more traditional things you might see in a typical graduation ceremony. That will be followed the next day by actually our own individual graduation ceremony that we are in the process of compiling right now, is probably the best word. On Monday, June 8th at 4 p.m., we will be having the BCC graduation ceremony. And that will be broadcast on MCPS TV and streamed online, likely through YouTube, through our means also. And our goal in putting together this program has really been to provide a graduation ceremony that is as close to what we would have at DAR Constitution Hall as we can. We know it's not a substitute for the real thing, but our goal is really to mimic the program that we would normally provide. So we have speeches by our students. We have speeches by staff members. We have the things that we typically done. We have music performed by our band, our chorus, and our orchestra. We're going to have those things that we would typically have. We are also going to have each graduate's picture displayed and their name read aloud. And that's going to be done in the way that we typically do it at BCC, with the student class officers reading those names. So our goal is to have it be as close to a normal graduation as we can again. And that will be on Monday, June 8th at 4 p.m. We will send out information about exactly how to access both of them once we get official links or times or anything else like that. I will send that out to everyone, not just to senior parents, so that everyone has an opportunity to see the graduation ceremony. An important part of that graduation ceremony, though, are the caps and gowns and the other graduation materials that students will get. So on Monday, June 1st, next Monday, and June 2nd, between 9 and 3, we will be distributing all of those materials at BCC. I sent out a detailed message yesterday to graduates and their parents about this process. But we also are collecting materials that students have. So students that have library books, band instruments, textbooks that they might have, sports uniforms, anything like that. We're also asking that you bring that back with you when you come to pick up your cap and gown. We will be actually distributing those in the covered parking, but there are details in the letter about how to access that. So please take a look at that letter. But we want to do that. The only piece of equipment that we are not absolutely interested in getting back right now is your Chromebook if you borrowed one, because we want to make sure that if you need that in order to access or view the graduation ceremony, that you have that. If you borrowed a Chromebook from us and you do not need it to access the graduation ceremony, we do ask that you bring that back next Monday and Tuesday also. Excuse me. So we do ask that everybody look at the May 26th Connect Ed message for details, the message I sent out yesterday. And if you have any questions about that process, about what you need to bring back, about what you're going to be getting, we ask that you contact Miss Linda Schaus, who is the graduation coordinator for BCC. She's also one of our math teachers, with any questions you might have. I also want to say that there are a fair number of students who actually didn't order a cap and gown. But we do want you to come by school anyway if you did not order a cap and gown, because we will have some materials for you. We'd also like to get those materials you have back at school, but we'll have some materials for you, including a program for the graduation ceremony, any other honors or things that you might have earned. So even if you didn't order a cap and gown, please still plan to come by between 9 and 3 on Monday and Tuesday to pick up your materials for graduation. The next information I'm going to share is really the weekly message. If you're with me every week, I just keep coming back to this because I don't want anyone to not have access to the technology they need to be engaged right now. So we continue to distribute Chromebooks and hotspots at BCC every Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We have a good supply of them. We're able to accommodate any request if you walk up. But it is good to know if you're coming so that we're prepared and we make sure we don't have a onslaught of people and then we suddenly don't have enough supply. So we do ask, if you know you're going to come pick one up, that you reach out to your grade level administrator. Also want to remind everyone that there is a technical support number for troubleshooting both Chromebook and Wi-Fi problems for parents and students. That number is 240-740-7022. And how this works is you actually call and leave a message in either English or Spanish, and then they will call you back in the language that you left the message in and provide you that support so that you're not just sitting on hold waiting for someone to answer the call. We are in the process, we started today actually with the 11th graders, in the process of hosting some grade level town hall meetings. So each grade level administrator is hosting these meetings and they're sharing information with the specific grade levels about information that they need for the summer and the fall, things that would be important for students to complete over the summer, and information about kind of what the next steps are based on their grade level for the fall. The one for juniors was today, and they spent a lot of time talking about what we know about the college admissions process and how students are starting to prepare for that, and how they are moving that and what they see as the major changes for that in our new reality. So one kind of request for us from parents is that these meetings are designed for students, but there's nothing in them that parents could not hear. So if you choose to listen, we do ask that you do so with your child, because we do have limited capacity in the Zoom meetings. We are limited to 500 people. So if every student and every parent logged in separately, then we would be over capacity and someone may get excluded from that. It's also important to know that those meetings are being recorded and placed on YouTube also. So they will be available even if you happen to miss it and you want to find out the information. So those invitations for those grade level town hall meetings were sent to students' MCPS email account. Every student got one sent to their MCPS email account. Juniors, as I mentioned earlier, actually had their meeting today at 10 a.m. My slide is actually a little bit inaccurate here. It says visit the school website for video. It has taken me a long time to download that and get the small bit of editing that I need to do to trim it up. It is not on the school website yet. My goal is to get that done early tomorrow morning, but if you check back, definitely by the end of the week, that video will be up. It was about an hour again, but it's filled with a lot of important information about really preparing for college, which was a big focus for those students. The sophomores will have their meeting tomorrow. at 10 a.m. and Ms. Sutton will host that. And then the freshmen will meet on Friday at 10 a.m. and Dr. McGarrell will host that. If for some reason your child did not see the invitation for that, please have them reach out to their grade level administrator. Again, that would be Ms. Sutton for sophomores or Dr. McGarrell for the freshmen. So one of the other issues that I wanted to talk about was the idea of summer school. So MCPS in their weekly message on May 23rd really talked about the concept of summer school and how summer school this year is going to look different than how we might have thought of it in the past. Primarily where it was an opportunity for students to play catch up if they had an area where they needed to gain high school credit or make up a course. But MCPS is really exploring opportunities to provide instruction in subject areas that is meant to be to reinforce what was learned during the school year. They're looking for ways that they can provide enrichment opportunities and some social emotional support. MCPS is also going to offer online courses for high school credit. Some of those details are still being worked out about exactly how that will look. A large part of it we've learned is that we have to make sure that we have the staff members who are able to facilitate and teach these classes. And that's important. If you want more details about that, if you look in the May 23rd message that MCPS gave, it has those details, and it also has a link to information on the MCPS website about some of those online course offerings. Another part that's important to know is that we are going to run our local programs that we traditionally run at BCC. They're just going to be in an online model. So all of those things, if you're a parent, not a ninth grade parent, and you've done any of the 10th grade academy or the college essay workshop or any of those types of things, we are going to be running those in an online model. And we've actually started some of that recruiting process for some of those right now. They're open if you're interested in any of those. I know the college essay one is one that's important, that's available right now. One of the ones that I have gotten a lot of questions about, though, is our local summer health program. So typically BCC has offered one section of local summer health, and it's been a hybrid model of partial classroom and partial online. This year, due to demand and really some uncertainty about kind of what we would be doing over the summer and into the fall, we did expand that offering to include two sections of the online health. That program was rolled out a few weeks ago, and it filled immediately. That is the only sections that we're going to offer, those two. It's important to know that they do have an impact on our staffing and our master schedule for the next year's school year if we expand beyond that. But for those of you who are concerned about that, MCPS is also going to be offering health as an online course for high school credit this summer. The same health course that we're running will be offered by MCPS, and it will be an online course. So that will be available. It just won't be the local BCC program. In terms of any concerns that parents have about whether or not their child will be able to access the health if they need it. So specifically, if you're a senior, if your child's a senior, for example, excuse me, and you need that online health class, or if you need that health class rather in order to graduate, our hope is that if you want to take it over the summer, that you're able to access it over the summer. But if not, during the school year, it is our priority. Those seniors who needed to graduate would be the highest priority in getting scheduled into that health class. It's part of the credit check process that the counselors go through, and we will ensure that every senior who needs it, if they want to and aren't able to access it during the summer, are able to get into that class during the school year and have that. So that's important information about specifically that health class, which is one that continues to come up several times. So the last thing is I did have several questions, and I only have one that I actually was able to add into the PowerPoint, and then I have one that I want to talk about. So the first question is, when will MCPS announce plans for the fall? And I wish I could predict that, and I wish I could really give you a definitive answer. That's one of the big questions we have right now. If you're a junior parent and you happen to listen in on today's Zoom meeting, town hall meeting. That was one of the things that Mr. Nelson talked about with the rising seniors. We just don't know. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know when we'll know what it's going to look like. Right now, we are in a world of kind of planning for both extremes. We're planning and thinking about what it'll look like if we come back to school just like we did last fall, and we're starting to think about what it might look like if we're trying to continue in on this world and how we mesh those two, so that we're planning, and that's at the school level. Again, but what BCC is going to do is what MCPS is going to do rather is a big question mark for us all. So we're hopeful that we know that soon, but I don't know when that will be. So there is one more question that has come up a few times, and I want to address it. It's not on a slide, so those of you who are on the phone, you're hearing the same thing that everyone else is. And that is the idea really of the challenge and the rigor that's occurring right now for students. And the question has been posed really is what we're having right now really challenging for students? And I just want to share kind of from a perspective. There are undoubtedly some students who are not challenged by what they are receiving, by the work that they're having to do, by the amount of interaction that they're having with their teachers. But on the other end of that spectrum are some students who are quite challenged by what they have and what they need to do and what they're being asked to do, in addition to any demands that they might have beyond school, which might be magnified right now. This is not very different from what we might see in a classroom or in a school setting, where no matter what the level of the course, there may be students who are very easily able to grasp the concepts that are being taught and students who struggle with it. So a part of it is us trying to make sure that we're meeting everyone's needs. We aren't necessarily right now meeting everyone's needs. That is a reality, and I'm fully aware of it. And I definitely hope, going back to the question that's on the screen right now, when we get to the fall, that we're really thinking about ways that we can do a lot more differentiation and meeting students' needs and meeting them where they are. But right now, going back to the question that I was answering, there are some students for whom this is a challenge, and there are some students, again, for whom I'm confident that they are breezing through this, and it's very easy for them. So that happens to be where we are. So the last thing I'll leave you with, and I leave with the same thing every time, is if you want to, if you have a question or you need to reach out to someone, my first recommendation is always to reach out to your child's teacher. They're the ones who have really the awareness of what's going on in the classroom, what the assignments look like, what the interaction with the student is looking like. All of those email addresses are available on the BCC website. But if you need to beyond that, you can always reach out to me. If you have a senior, you can reach out to Mr. Levine. If you have a junior, you can reach out to Mr. Nelson. 10th graders can reach out to Ms. Sutton, and 9th graders can reach out to Dr. McGarwa. We are down to less than 3 weeks of school left. My second grader reminds me of that every day. He's counting these days down. But we want to finish strong. We want to make sure that everyone gets everything that they can from this process. So I thank you all for joining.